out for him. I just feel like he is going to find a way to get this done. This is probably more of a vibe check for me. I can sit here and run through the numbers and do you can go through any amount of numbers and spin it to whatever. But I know that the way football unfolds, and I truly believe that every year there is always one team that rises up, and I love the makeup of this Broncos team, and I think they're going to do it on Sunday.
Well, look, at the end of the day, I was lucky to be on the broadcast crew of the Super Bowl 50 team. That defense was unreal. Now, this defense isn't quite there, but I will tell you, matter of fact, Adam, I was on the field for both 48 and 50. And both times, unfortunately for Bronco fans, Seattle the first time had the defense. Yeah. The second time, the Broncos did. If you have a defense, anything can happen in the playoffs because, as they say, defense travels, but it's legit. That has not changed. Adam, I got the number that matters for you, man. You on NFL Network. I threw this out there yesterday thanks to some other guy's research, but this is an Adam Rank stat as much as it's a Nate Kreckman stat if I've ever heard it. Sean Payton, since 2017, is 30-12 against bald coaches. So the fact that Sean McDermott has no hair is what's going to cost him the game coming up this week. Book it.
I'm so stealing that. That is the kind of stuff that I love. Because, again, like, we can sit here, and this is one of the things that you learn. You know, you learn this covering the game. You know, like, it's fun to look at the numbers and be like, hey, you know what, Josh Allen, when the temperature is 30 degrees against teams that wear orange. And it's like, I understand all of that. But there is something about the vibe check of these teams. And having a defense that travels. I, incidentally, was at both of those Super Bowls, 48 and 50. And both times I had picked the winning side. But I actually had picked, and I know the Broncos fans hated me for this, because I had picked a blowout for the Seahawks that nobody could have imagined at the time. I'm like, nah, like the Seahawks defense is too good. Like Peyton sort of doesn't play well in the playoffs, especially not in the cold. So nobody liked me on that one. But then at Super Bowl 50, you're like, there's no way. There's no way the Broncos lose this game. Like, they could pretty much put anybody at quarterback. This defense is going to carry the day. And I don't know that Denver's there yet. I'm not sure that this carries all the way to Super Bowl 50. Although, if you want me to write some fan fiction about how this can happen, I think there is a path to the Super Bowl. Like, it's not crazy. But I just really love the way that this team has been coming together. And now that I know that Sean Payton has a mastery over bald coaches, I bet the house on that. There it is. It's over. We're done. This game, cancel it. Let's just go on. Go on to week 2. Here we go.
All right, let me get your take on this. Do you think the Chiefs ought to be nervous too? Because I've said this to Nate. You know, when it comes to Buffalo, when it comes to Baltimore, the Chiefs are this like Leviathan they have to conquer, right, to move on in the playoffs. Yeah. I think when it comes to the Chargers and Broncos, to help your lore, as my daughter likes to say, the lore of how this could all go down. Look, the Chargers and Broncos, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. We see them all the time. You lose to them, that's just kind of how it goes. There's no pressure on either of those teams if they were to find their way to Arrowhead next week to be worried about that game the way the other two would feel pressure to have to go face those guys.
You know what? And I think there's something to be said, too, because nobody wants to talk about this, and it's only guys like us. It's not like, you're not going to get like one of the talking heads, the serious football guy. Like, the way you laid down, and listen, credit to the Broncos. The Broncos should have won that game in Arrowhead. The Will Lutz blocked field goal. I'm so sorry about that, but you outplayed them. You deserve to win it. You deserve to be on the field. You probably would have beaten the Chiefs anyways. But being so non-competitive, so you didn't have to play the Bengals, is such a soft mentality that I don't care for it. And I think that's not something that Sean Payton would do. And I think that you're in worse shape. I even said this right leading into Week 18. I know what the Chiefs are going to do. I know how they're going to approach this game. They're going to play scared and whatever, and Denver's going to take it to them and destroy them, and it's not going to be close. That's the kind of thing that sets you up for a situation which could happen in round 2. And I'm telling you right now, if Denver's going up to Arrowhead next week, I again will be the lone voice of dissension saying that the Broncos are going to win that game. But they would have such an advantage on that one. I want that to happen so bad. If I was in charge of booking the NFL, that's the way I would want it to break down. I want that to happen because I think there's something to be said about that. And again, this is why I love the Broncos this week is like there's nothing to lose. Like nobody expected you to be here outside of the bald guy on the NFL Network. Nobody expected you to be here. Go out there and take advantage of it. I know. Listen, one of you picked 10-7, but still.
Yeah.
I love having that attitude. I think there's something about that. There's something to be said about that, which is why we love sports, because in these situations, anything can happen.
All right, so the addition of that, too, Adam, is you're only the bald guy on NFL Network. You're not a coach. So Sean Payton, he wouldn't have to destroy
no mastery over you.
Exactly.
So.
Adam,
No. we would be fair. I think Sean Payton and I would get along. So I always like to judge people like that. I don't know that Sean Dermott and I would get along. Even as bald guys, I'm like, I don't know. But Sean and I feel like we'd be simpatico.
All right, I hate to end on a sour note because we love having you on. Hopefully you'll come on in future, seasons here or whatever. I got to find out from you. How do you fix Caleb Williams? You do the Bears YouTube podcast. You're in the middle of this thing. I thought Caleb was the best quarterback in this class. I had a lot of faith in Jaden Daniels, but I really thought that Caleb Williams with that veteran group, I just thought it was going to be a different season. What are you going to have to do to fix this guy now?
I think it all comes down to coaching. You would know as well as anybody that how much coaching matters in the NFL. Why did the Broncos win in Super Bowl 50? Obviously the defense and because of Von Miller and great players like that. But moving on from John Fox and going back to Kubiak, that made all the difference in the world. Similarly, you get rid of George Hackett, bring in Sean Payton. It's amazing how much more competent your franchise looks. So if the Bears can go out there and nail the head coaching position, which they really honestly haven't been able to do in quite some time. So there's no reason to have faith in it. But still, if they go out there and they make the right hire, I have a lot of confidence in it. I agree with you. I still believe that Caleb Williams is going to end up being the best quarterback in this draft class. And that's no disrespect to Bo Nix. I'm not disregarding him at all. I think Bo Nix is a great quarterback. Is going to be a great quarterback for time to come. We all favor our own guy, and it's fair. I'm not saying anything bad about him. But I will say that if they get that correct and they find some guys on the offensive line, I mean, look at what happened this year with the Denver Broncos. I mean, after you sign McGlinchey, but McGlinchey's not the all-pro. You know what? And you solidified your line, and you go out and you make some great moves in free agency, the draft, and all that stuff. Couple of tweaks on the offensive line, better coaching, and I think Caleb Williams is going to be pretty good. And by the way, when you look at it, 3,500 yards, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, rush for 400 yards. I thought, as far as Bears quarterbacks go, that might have been that's one of the best Bears quarterback seasons I've seen in quite some time. I know it's not your guys' Listen, you guys are sitting there in Denver, which it's not fair because you've still got some great years from Peyton Manning, and I will still fight people to this day who don't give John Elway enough credit for what he was able to do over the years. He only got obviously he got the 2 Super Bowls at the end, but I always felt that John Elway never got the credit for how great he is or how great he was, both maybe. But so you guys are too spoiled. You have to understand this was a good quarterback season for the Bears.
Don't worry, Adam. I grew up a Bears fan. I know the suck.
He divorced you guys.
Yeah, I watched Craig Krenzel start games for the Bears, for Christ's sake. Yeah.
I say this. The 3 best Bears quarterbacks in my lifetime have been Jim McMahon, Jay Cutler, and Walter Payton on the halfback option. And that's it. That's the list.
No love for Kramer? Eric Kramer doesn't make the list?
No Rex Grossman love in there? You don't want to slide anything in for Cade McNown?
I feel bad because Eric did. Eric, I'm sort of friends with Eric, and he kind of called me on that one time. I'm like, Eric, it's a joke. You were really good. He was really good. But he was – I saw him at the Super Bowl last year. I'm like, you're wearing Lion stuff. No. This is why the joke still plays.
Yeah, that's a good call there.
Harbaugh with the Bears for a minute?
He sure was.
Yeah. No Harbaugh love?
Yeah.
Harbaugh, listen, there's a lot of things now. In 88, the Bears lost in the playoffs to Washington. But, yeah, I think it was Harbaugh's rookie season where they didn't go to him in a year. What was it, 86? When they went with Fuller. And it's like, gosh, if they would have gone with Harbaugh, I don't know. Harbaugh made some mistakes. And never quite gelled with Mike Ditka, but
they hated each other. They hated each other.
How is that possible? They're kind of the same guy.
Right? Yeah, I know. That's why. Yeah, they're
There you
too
go.
similar. Too similar.
Did Dick ever roll into somebody's kitchen and ask for a PB&J like Harbaugh did to Cutcliffe's wife?
No, just
Yeah.
the scotch.
Can I
That
get
was
a
all that Mike was
PB&J,
looking
Miss
for.
Cutcliffe, you mind? Anyway.
All right, everybody. Check out Adam Rank's Substack. He's got fanfic on how the Broncos are going to win the Super Bowl. It's going to be good stuff. Adam, beautiful work as always, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me. Good luck this week. You know that I'll be rooting for you. I'll be wearing blue and orange. So I got you guys. Good luck to everybody. And by the way, thanks again for the support. Really appreciate it. And looking forward to seeing the game.
Adam Rank, everybody. He is on Twitter at Adam Rank. Follow him right there. He is with us on the Ramos Law Hotline. Car accident, you need Ramos Law. Medical doctor and attorney. Visit ramoslaw.com.
Hey, we dodged one there. We got 2 good lucks.
But
He
it's for
saved
the
it.
Broncos.
No, he saved it at the end.
Yes.
He nearly Dan Foutsed us. We were that close.
It's real.
Shouldn't have
Thanks
brought
for
up the
having me
Bears
on, guys. Good luck.
quarterbacks.
That's our dude right there. Uh-huh.
Can we just go the whole hour? The hell with Bills?
Have you, by the way, we were kind of going through the list of bad Bears quarterbacks right there for a minute, and I Googled this one the other day. Bills quarterbacks between Jim Kelly
and Josh
and Josh Allen.
That's a list.
Now,
That's something.
you know, you get some stability out of Drew Bledsoe.
Sure.
You get some stability out of Ryan Fitzpatrick.
You do. You know what? The Amish rifle got himself a nice little contract there, didn't he?
Yeah. Did you know they had a year where Todd Collins started 13 games?
That ain't what you want.
Did you know they had a year where their 2 starters were Rob Johnson and old Doug Flutie?
That's who I go back to is Rob Johnson,
Rob
another
Johnson.
USC quarterback that
Uh-huh.
wasn't.
J.P. Lossman. He was kind of a high draft pick, too, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. He was
Yeah.
another one of those supposed to be's
Uh-huh.
that never was.
E.J. Manuel.
Yeah, he's on ESPN now telling me about quarterbacks.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, he's on there today, matter of fact.
Tyrod Taylor was he was the guy before Josh. He was like a little, here's the thing about Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor is fun if you're not serious about winning or good football.
All right. Yes. A, you're right, but they did beat the Broncos and sent 2017 into a spiral.
Sure did.
B,
And there was no saving the 2017 Broncos.
no, there wasn't.
Yeah.
But Cody writes in, how many quarterbacks played for teams you forgot about? Kyle Orton was a Bill.
He was.
I don't remember that.
He was.
Like, how many teams did Kyle Orton play for that you simply forgot he was there?
Kyle Orton got this was post Denver, post Kansas City. He spent I think a full year with that team.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Orton was briefly a Buffalo Bill. Which is, again, it's very telling of like what the Bills were for so long before they finally got it right with McDermott and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's and again, we're allowed to have these laughs here because we have got Paxton Lynch and Brandon Allen and Drew Lock on our list. So we're allowed to have these laughs.
Did Kevin Hogan actually play a game? Did he ever get
I
in?
don't think he did.
Yeah.
No.
It's too bad.
No. Jake Driscoll started a game.
Jake Driscoll got one in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. That happened.
Uh-huh.
Who else? Brock Osweiler came back.
Ripien.
I like Brock. That's the problem. But again, Brock's
Good
ball security, his job security is burned in my head.
Good broadcaster.
Good broadcast.
Nice guy.
Jake Driscoll?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There's we had some rough ones there over the years. So again, we can have these laughs. All is right now. Bo Nix has got the Broncos in the playoffs. It's Kreckman and Lindahl. It's a Football Friday. Dan Hyatt this hour on Nuggets and Brooklyn coming up there this evening. Jeff Legwald at 20 minutes after 4 o'clock. Broncos-Bills playoff drinking game in hour number 3 of the show. So much to do. It's Kreckman and Lindahl. That's Andy. I'm Nate. Mark Springer is here on Altitude Sports Radio.
Well, nothing like all those unique thoughts there. Would you like to play with some house money and get your sex life back? How about that? How about house money for that? Would you maybe like to stop by the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic and Get the old feeling back and feel the way that you once did. That's true house money right there, since that's the theme of the week here with the Broncos going to the playoffs. Over at the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, if you've been putting off going to have a serious discussion with your doctor or someone about erectile dysfunction, go and see the folks over at the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic and let them help you. That's because they have multiple different treatment options for you. They've got treatments that work when pills and herbals fail. And they've successfully treated tens of thousands of men over at the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic. And what's good about this is they can find the right solution for you. It's about finding that right treatment that is going to make all the difference in getting that old feeling back for you. The Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, again, has served the Front Range of Colorado for nearly a decade. Your initial visit's $99 when you head in there. It includes a PT and PSA test with a Colorado licensed medical provider, and they'll give you a test dose. And if the test dose isn't working in the office, that visit is free. They have an expert staff, and they're going to make you feel comfortable. 5 locations throughout Colorado to serve you, including Fort Collins and the Springs. Call them today, 720-440-7900, or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Oh, it's Party at the Craigman and Lindahl Show on a Ska Friday. Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Nuggets tonight. They will take on the mighty Brooklyn Nets. Or not. Quite bad, in fact. Brooklyn coming in at 13-24 on the year. Andy, I asked you in the break, how many Brooklyn Nets can you name right now?
I can't. I know. Who was it? They had the one player that you guys liked in the trade, Finney Smith.
Dorian Finney-Smith.
He was traded.
He's traded. He's
so who
gone.
else is left?
Cam Johnson is still on the team, but injured. So he is not playing in the game tonight. Well, they traded Schroeder, too. Don't forget they traded Schroeder. So
that's right. Where is he? Minnesota?
He's gone. Schroeder is
Golden State.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, he's gone. All right. I got two names that I know in the starting lineup. Ben Simmons.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. He's starting?
Yes.
All right.
Nick Claxton. And that's the end.
I like the name. I don't
So-
know why.
Some of these guys I don't
You don't know who they are?
I don't know who they are. Yeah. This team is tanking all the way. Just go out and kick their ass and win the game.
Who we tanking for? Do we know who the guy is yet?
All of them. Because Brooklyn needs all of them.
Anybody?
That's who they're tanking for right now.
Any perfectly cromulent basketball player would work at Brooklyn this point?
Would be an upgrade. Turns out that Durant, Kyrie, James Harden thing didn't really pan out for these guys. So, they traded Mikal Bridges last offseason. They're done. They're out. So, yeah.
Are we going to rotate back? Are we going to rotate back in all sports? Or you just got to kind of draft and put your team together? Going to stop with some of the quick fixes?
No.
You don't think so?
No, as long as there's franchises with cap space and
need
trios
to
of
do
all-stars
something.
that want to get together on your – like here, this is the thing, Andy. When Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving want to be on your team, you just go, okay.
All right, then.
It sounds great, right?
Fair enough, then. You know what? I like that. But why do teams keep adding James Harden? It just is left in a worse spot. He comes in and ruins whatever it is. He ruins the drink. He's the extra ingredient you don't need in the cake.
Certainly I would say that happened in Brooklyn and in Philly.
Nothing happened in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Or not in Phoenix, in Houston. Nothing happened in Philly.
I mean, he won an MVP in Houston. The guy was pretty damn good.
What did they win?
They went to a Western Conference Finals or two. They won a lot of games. Yeah, you can't knock the career of James Harden. He's a Hall of Famer.
I felt like he was a good player in OKC, but I just feel like he's just been this traveling circus ever since.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, I think he averaged 36 a year one season in Houston. I would take that. The Brooklyn thing was bad. The Philly thing was bad. He's okay as a Clipper. He's not great. He's old as hell.
I guess in fairness to him as a Clipper, both Paul George who's now gone, and Kawhi just continue to not play for that team.
Yeah, that whole thing hasn't really worked out. He's okay, but he's also old. He's got that working against him. Nuggets tonight take on Brooklyn. Just go beat those guys.
What is the channel?
KTVD?
Channel 20.
Channel 20.
There you go.
That's what's coming up. Dan Hyatt ahead this hour here on the Kreckman and Lindahl Show.
Oh, my gosh.
We got a lot to do today. We're jam-packed. We got a lot going on.
By the way, pure alcohol. Just thought I'd hit myself a little hand sanitizer there.
What happened
all the
to you?
stuff going around. Hey, man, I drink bourbon. I don't know what that was. It's like I was in an episode of Moonshiners for a minute. Holy cow.
Are you flammable right now?
I might be. Good night, hand sanitizer. Sheesh.
Did somebody at our
take paint off with that?
Did somebody at our company fill the name brand with something
else
that was made in a back
You want
alley?
to give that a hit? Tell me I'm wrong.
That was out of a barrel?
You know what? Hey, you're a hand sanitizer enthusiast.
I sure am.
Now just get it up by the. See, you put it out. Yes, there it is, dude. I could have got secrets out of you with what you just did. That's how you kidnap people in a Bond movie.
Give me a rag. We'll huff that stuff.
Yeah.
We'll have fun this afternoon.
See, you had the smart move of you put it out. Nate got his hand sanitizer and extended both arms to rub it in. I brought it up near me for some reason, and the fumes. Woo! Yeah.
Yeah, that's That's bathtub gin hand sanitizer right there.
We're going to need to sit here a minute and not go back out in the parking lot. Someone may come talk to us again.
Law's on my side, Andy. Law's on my side. They can harass me all they want. The law's on my side. You want a Josh Allen factoid for you?
A quick anecdote
Josh
before our
Allen.
friend Dan Hyatt.
The Broncos blitzed on 37% of opponent dropbacks this season. That is the fourth highest rate in the league. This was a blitz-happy team. Blitzing Josh Allen, if you don't get home, can have very mixed results. And that's one of the challenges. They have a very good offensive line, and Allen himself is, number one, he's mobile. Number two, he's huge. Number three, he's got a great arm. It's the reason the guy was second-team All-Pro. The Bills have allowed pressure on only 34.5% of opponent blitzes. That's the fourth lowest rate in the league. This is, again, one of those situations where the Broncos defense is very good, but also, like, they're going to have to be really good, and Vance Joseph is going to have a great day. He's going to have to be creative with what he comes up with, and the biggest thing that the Broncos can do to help themselves is get that pressure directly up the middle and stay disciplined. Nick Bonito said it himself yesterday. You can't rush selfishly in this game. Otherwise, that guy will kill you.
Yeah. See, the blitzing stat's interesting because you and I have talked about it prior in the week, and maybe it was more about the coverage, but at the end of the day, this defense does bring extra people.
Yeah.
And they play man coverage.
Yeah.
And we found in other games this year, and I'm specifically thinking of Baltimore, where things just went to crap, and really in the Charger game. Now, in the Charger game, in part, it was because the second Charger game, because you didn't have Riley Moss. When you don't play to your identity, this defense is not the defense that has been making a difference for this team. So even though Josh Allen can be good against the blitz, and like you said, you're going to have to be disciplined about it, but you can't be afraid of that. That's what you do. That's how you got here. You can't just go away from it now.
Yeah, have your personality, and I mean, the biggest thing is you can win this game with game plan all you want. Josh Allen, he can outplay your game plan with his physical brilliance. This is a really lame take, but I'm going to say it out loud. The Broncos are just going to have a bunch of dudes have great friggin' games to win this game. You know, it's going to take hitting Josh Allen and then wrapping him and getting him to the ground. And if you do that enough, you can win this game.
Here's the cold hard facts, okay? Here's the smacker reality that we don't have to fester in for too long. But the bottom line is this team only beat two teams with a winning record, and one of them was KC not playing their guys last week. So, yeah, there's some challenges here. So it's completely fair to say a bunch of guys are probably going to have their best game of the year for this to happen. But the fact that you've got a good defense, the fact that your offense has been in a good groove for really the last 2.5 months, no one said this doesn't have to go the way a typical 7-2 seed matchup does.
Nuggets, Nets tonight, Altitude, KTVD Channel 20, Dan Hyatt previewing that matchup with 2 stats you need to know and 1 you really don't need to know. That's next. Nuggets mere 14.5, 15-point favorites for tonight's matchup against a bunch of guys in Brooklyn Nets uniforms. Joining us right now to help preview this matchup, he is with us on every Friday. He is Nuggets and NBA statistician extraordinaire. He is Dan Hyatt, and he is here to tell us two stats we need to know and one we probably don't. Hi, Dan.
Hi, boys. How we doing?
We're doing okay, man. Okay, so just handle your business against this team tonight. That's really all this is. No, in all seriousness, can you tell me anything about any Brooklyn Nets not named Ben Simmons or Nick Claxton?
Well, the Simmons playing tonight's fun because he hasn't played in the last 6 chances he's had against the Nuggets. And Claxton just fills up a lot of space. But it's also going to be a weird situation because we still don't know about Nikola. So, in the research today, it was name a net, and that's what we played when we were doing our pregame prep. But it feels really trappy to me because, again, you're going to have a bunch of guys who aren't very good. The Nuggets should be just fine. They've got their guys right now, and they're grooving. But the Nets are not good. They're not trying to be good. They're seeing what they've got off that bench, and there's not a lot. Ben Simmons will do what he does. But, again, the last year or so, he's averaged about 6 points a game, 6 assists per game, and it's been bad.
So no Reese Beekman facts or anything like that for us today? Okay, Dan.
No. And the Cams are both out. They trade away. They're both their point guards. There's nothing to watch on the other end. But again, you're going to find one or two of those guys who's going to hit about maybe 3 or 4 of those corner threes, unless the defensive perimeter shapes up.
Hold on. Who owns the Nets? Is it still the Russian guy of the Carmelo Anthony drama? Is that still the same guy?
Yes.
Prokhorov? Or no, Joseph Tsai. Joe Tsai bought the team. Yeah, Prokhorov does not.
Ownership. They're in a full announced rebuild.
Yeah.
But they have absolutely no plan. The 2 trades that they just did netted them a bunch of picks, mostly second rounders.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they have a terrible history of drafting lately.
Well, Dan Hyatt remembers Patrick Watkins, I'm sure. We used to do bits with him where Prokhorov was the character of sending us Russian threats and trading him Melo and stuff like that.
So. That dude.
In Clue. He's the guy who did it in Clue.
That guy, in all seriousness, like the fact that Carmelo kept up the ruse that he would be open-minded enough to go and play for the New Jersey Nets.
Remember, not Brooklyn at the time, guys, New Jersey.
It actually did help. The trade got better as a result of all of that. All right, let's start here, Dan. Are the Nuggets getting better defensively? Are they more balanced?
Yeah, the first stat that you need to know is that in January, it's only been 5 games, but kind of towards the end of December, after you had this flurry of offense, they found a better balance. All right, so you're 120.6 points per game, right? 120 per game, but 113 allowed. That's a really healthy balance. 7 points per differential is about 6th best in the league. You remember in November, they weren't really scoring 117. They were allowing 115. You needed more offense, better defense. And in December, you were averaging about 124, which was historically good, but you were allowing 120 and losing games in which you scored 130. So right now in January, and again, you've had 2 games without Jokic, you have the 6th best point differential, and you're averaging 120, which is always the Scott Hastings mark of success, but you're only giving up 113. And the only loss you've had, recently with that Boston game, you kept them to their average. They shot below their average, but you kept them to their average, and that's pretty strong.
Yeah, Nuggets have not allowed an opponent to hit 120 for 4 consecutive games. That's huge. All right, let's talk about the 3-ball here, Dan. We know the Nuggets don't shoot a lot of them, although we do know that they are efficient when they do shoot the 3-ball. What do we need to know about the Nuggets behind the arc?
What you need to know is that the fast break at home is way more important. It's more important road or home, but at home, they're averaging 23 fast break points per game and wins. And losses, it's down to 12. No team's ever had a differential like that. But it starts with those 3-pointers because, again, that was the narrative. We needed to shoot more. They have the 3rd best 3-point shooting percentage in the league, and they are still taking the least amount of them. All right? Brooklyn comes in, they take about 38 per game. They shoot 10% less, or 2% less, and they rely on the 3 about 40% of their total points. The Nuggets still only get about 29, 30% of their points from that 3-ball, but you have to hit when you get those shots, when you take them. They are 12-5 when they're shooting 40% or better overall this season. So you you found a formula in which you're being productive down low, even in those last 2 games without Nikola. But if you're getting those 3-point shots, you got to hit them. And right now, Murray's hitting, Porter's hitting, and most importantly, Strother's hitting. That's been a huge boost for them off the bench because it's not just one 3-pointer, it's a couple per game, and that's made a big difference in terms of when they're able to not only hold down the non-Jokic minutes, but also just have a consistent flow where they don't have these droughts of 6-7 minutes with only 1 or 2 field goals made.
Yeah, no question. Strother's been playing better. Hey, tempo right there. 23 fast points per game in wins when you're playing at home. There you go. Run the Brooklyn Nets out of the building tonight. Last thing, Dan, and again, Dan Hyatt joins us every Friday, tells us 2 Nugget stats we need to know, 1 we don't need to know. This is where it always gets entertaining. Here we go. For a matchup tonight against the Brooklyn Nets, Dan, what is a stat that we don't need to know?
Well, I'll start with the stat, and then I'll backtrack to how the hell I got here. But the stat is very simple. I didn't know this. I knew that Olympic gold medals were not actually made of gold. All right? They're about 93% silver since World War I. That's been the way it's been, and it's just gold plating. I also didn't know silver medals are mostly just copper. But Nobel
Hold
Prize
on now.
awards,
What?
Nobel Prize awards are actually gold.
Okay.
Okay, so here's how I got here because it's been a day. The Nets. Because I was thinking about the Nets and the name, right? You think a basketball net, but that's not how it started. That team was a 1968 ABA original, and they called themselves the Americans because they were trying to form in New York. There was already a bunch of teams there. They couldn't find the land. They moved to New Jersey, which they knew wasn't going to be a very highly supported place, but they needed something you couldn't really root against, so they called themselves the Americans. And then in 72, they switched to the Nets, but it wasn't because of the basketball net. It was because they had a lot of highways running through there, basically all the places you'd rather live, and it kind of intersects through Teaneck, New Jersey, and all the New Jersey turnpikes. So instead of the highwaymen or the networkers, which is where the ideas were, they became the Nets, which also had nothing to do with the Mets or the Jets. And then the coolest thing I found was in 1990, they actually really, really did try to become the Swamp Dragons. And they had a logo, they had all the stuff, and it was right at the hype of the Charlotte Hornets with that teal and their cartoon hornet, and it was super popular, right? So they thought about it. It didn't get passed by the board, so they didn't end up going that way. But then it got me thinking about the Nuggets, right? It makes sense because it's a reference to the gold and silver nuggets that were found during the 19th century mining boom. And I wanted to just go back for a quick second and figure out where that started. 1850, wagon comes through, right, going to California, makes a stop, finds a river, finds some gold. Lewis Ralston in that Ralston Creek finds some gold, goes to California, comes back 8 years later in 1958. That's when he started to have a bunch of people converging. And that first creek where they found that gold, which I did not know, is now in Arvada.
Really?
They started with the gold
creek?
in Arvada.
Which creek?
Clear Creek, the confluence of Clear Creek and Ralston Creek.
So by Ralston Valley right there. I was wondering.
There you go. Yep.
Hey, we used to ride our
Ralston
bikes by that thing.
Lewis Ralston somehow passed the Oregon Trail test, didn't get snake bitten or whatever it was on the Oregon Trail, made it to California, told a lot of people about it, and then realized his mistake, rushed back, and tried to find some gold.
All right.
Arvada, the Gold City. Who knew?
Nobody, trust me.
Nobody.
By the way, I just looked up the Swamp Dragons, and I found the story on ESPN. You're not kidding. Yeah. That is very close to ripping off the Hornets.
How's the lyric?
There might have been the colors are very similar.
Yep.
Oh, it's a good logo.
Imagine a Swamp Dragon starter jacket. That would have been
a hot seller right there.
That Swamp Dragon has a devilish look there, Dan.
Andy, have you ever drank bootleg hand sanitizer down at the confluence of Clear Creek and Ralston Creek?
We can go try it tonight. Bring that bottle right in front of you.
It sounds like a pretty good time right there.
I spent a lot of my childhood all around Arvada. I had no idea.
You never found any gold.
Never
did
idea.
You?
No.
That's because damn Louis
Rooston.
Rooston.
You just got to find it.
Ralston took it all. Damn it. Dan Hyatt, everybody. Factoids for days. Dan, good stuff, buddy. We appreciate it.
And listen, I'm not going to say what I usually say, which is good luck, because someone else already did that. So you know what? If you guys are just sitting there, huffing hand sanitizer, I'll just say, make your own good fortune today. Don't rely on luck. Let's go.
Dan, I appreciate the advice, but you rolling in with that near 4 o'clock on the day. What the hell am I supposed to? The day's gone.
Make your own fortune, kids.
Yeah.
There's still time. Andy, there's still time, especially on this show.
I've already wasted this day. You think I'm going to make something of the night? Not happening.
Just brew up some more sanitizer. Let's go.
Yeah, somebody needs to. I don't know who did.
No, man, just watch Reese Beekman and the Nets tonight. All right, Dan Hyatt with us right there. Reese Beekman out of Virginia, by the way, Andy.
Let him say it. Is he gone?
He is.
He always wishes us luck.
I know. He didn't that time.
You know why?
Thanks for having me on, guys, and good luck.
Yeah, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
He's a P1.
He is,
I
very
think.
much so. He's loyal as they get right there. Yeah, the great Dan Hyatt with us right there on a Friday afternoon.
Did you guys not do any bits with Prokhorov?
Um,
Look, you give me American basketball player, we give you plenty of vodka.
Oh, we
It was
give-
stuff like that.
Yeah,
Now, that wasn't our best, clearly there, but you get the idea.
we didn't have a voice guy.
my God.
Gold medals or silver medals or copper.
Yeah, what world are we living in? I mean, why can't save the silver medals just to be silver and then use the copper for the gold and gold plate the thing?
Or with the gold, just have them be chocolate and wrap them in gold foil. That would work too. It's Kreckman and Lindahl. Hey, it's Nate Kreckman for my friends over at Sport Trade. Just had a great conversation with my friend Alex Kane, the CEO at Sport Trade today. You can check it out on Altitude Sports Radio's YouTube page. Looking ahead to Denver and Buffalo on Sunday. One of the great ways to be able to bet games at Sport Trade is to bet the games as probabilities. And right now, if you're looking at this Broncos-Bills matchup coming up here on Sunday, you're looking at Denver as having a 20% likelihood to be able to win that game. But this is what's fun about it, okay? Take a look at those probabilities. What if the Broncos are up in the first quarter? What if they're up in the second quarter of this game and suddenly Denver goes up to 30, 35, maybe 40%? Well, then you sell your your bet back, and you double your cash right
Sell
there.
my voice back.
That's it's a new thing, Andy. I'm trying it out.
Snow White?
It's this damn hand sanitizer.
Are you drunk?
Tripping my balls off over here trying to do my Sport Trade read. Anyway, Nate Kreckman here for Sport Trade. Go to getsporttrade.com. They're going to be thrilled they paid for this, by the way.
Do not hit the Sport Trade app after hitting the hand sanitizer. Make sane decisions.
Or maybe you should. I don't know. Anyway, getsporttrade.com. That's getsporttrade.com. Sport Trade is regulated by the Colorado Division of Gaming. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Andy, we got our All-Pro teams today, the AP All-Pro teams.
How about it?
Yes. This is as voted by the Associated Press. We had the NFLPA, we had the PFF. Today we go AP. Broncos got 5 between the first and second teams. Quinn Miners, first team All-Pro at right guard. Awesome. Very cool to see him get that nod right there. Lindstrom from Atlanta was getting that love on a lot of the other All-Pro teams, but Miners gets it from the AP. Lindstrom was second team from the Associated Press. So way to go, Quinn Miners. Broncos got somebody on offense on the first team All-Pro team. And then, obviously, Patrick Surtain was first team All-Pro, although not unanimous. 49 of 50 first team votes.
Yeah. Who is the one?
I don't know. Have we found the guy yet?
Why don't you identify yourself? Are you proud? You're like I don't know. You're like the guy that keeps the one, whatever Hall of Famer that you like the most. I decided to vote against it, so he wasn't unanimous. Good for you, guy.
Here's my assumption. I'm just going to make an assumption here.
Was a Raider?
Somebody just forgot about Patrick Surtain. Somebody was just like, crap, I got to get this thing turned in by midnight and just rushed through it and forgot about him.
In all seriousness, I could see your scenario playing out where the guy just goes and looks at the numbers. He doesn't have high interception. Yeah, they don't throw at him, bro.
Hit 4 of them. Not bad.
Not bad, but I'm sure there's probably people with more.
Marvin Mims, also a first-team All-Pro. Andy.
How about that?
Mimsy as a punt returner.
Mimsy!
Nice job.
Were you at any point in the season, were you thinking, I'm looking at the All-Pro punt returner in the NFL?
No, well, I mean, you look up at the end of the year, and he averages 15 yards per return, which is, I believe, the top mark in the league. But he didn't score a touchdown this year, did he?
I don't believe so.
No, I don't.
But he had a lot of big returns. He gave him a lot. Look, the Broncos this year, one of the things they've been doing well, they've been winning the field position battle.
Yeah.
You know, they haven't had to start at the 10 ad nauseum like it felt like for 8 years.
If he's got an opportunity to make a return, he typically makes a play out there. He's pretty damn good at that job. So should be deserving of it. I guess he was technically, Rashid Shaheed, remember, he got hurt. He was just above Mimsy, but he only played in 6 games. So Marvin Mims, 15.7. That was the highest total for anybody that played the entire season. Way to go, Marvin Mims. Zach Allen, second team All-Pro interior defensive lineman, along with Jalen Carter. Second team edge rusher Nick Benito, along with TJ Watt and Andrew Van Ginkel, who has a sweet blonde mullet. So there you go. Nice job. Nice job right there. Broncos get 5 dudes on the All-Pro team. Good to see them get some recognition as well. They should have. They had a number of guys put up big-time numbers. Sean Payton asked today, what does it mean to see his team having 5 All-Pros?
Outstanding. Look, and the Pro Bowl is one thing. I get it. A lot of different people vote. This All-Pro and anybody who votes on, for instance, the Hall of Fame, remember that's one team, AFC, NFC. And so, man, it's a tremendous honor for those guys. And I'm proud of all of them. Our team was excited for all of them. And, much deserved.
Yeah. Much deserved. Well done. And it's cool to see the Broncos getting the recognition. Like, we can sit here in Denver and be like, damn, Zach Allen was incredible this year, but it's good to see him get the recognition. And here's the other thing I'll say about it, Andy, and it's funny because, you bring up somebody looking up the Patrick Surtain stats. In all seriousness, there's so much data available to us all now, whether it's next-gen stats, whether it's Pro Football Focus. It's all out there. You can find the information.
Yeah.
You can be informed of the impact that a guy has on the game without just being a film rat. And honestly, like, the guys that vote on this are mostly football writers who they have stories to write, an open locker room to go to, and deadlines to hit, and all those sorts of things. Like, they do their best. They don't have time to just sit there and grind film for 15 hours a day. Their job just doesn't allow that for them. So the information, fortunately, is out there right now, and you can go and get it, and you can figure out, okay, even if a guy doesn't have, 3 pick sixes this year, how good is he? Well, Go and look at the numbers that Surtain has put up, the numbers that guys have put up against Patrick Surtain, opposing passer rating, and everything like that. You can figure out this guy's probably the best defensive player of the year in the NFL.
Well, what makes it interesting, and I'm going to check. Yep, there it is. All right. Guess who made second team All-Pro? I'll just tell you. Trent McDuffie in Kansas City and Christian Gonzalez in New England.
Yeah.
We have a number of people on the text line saying that somebody had revealed it's a Boston Globe writer, so did he just try to get his guy Christian Gonzalez up to number one?
Maybe. Who knows?
Former Buff, by the way.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
That's what I feel more probably happened there. So, whatever. Good luck, guy.
We're all good. Cool, Carl.
Yeah, thanks, guy.
We're all good lucks today
Good
here
luck.
on this
Good
show.
luck, pal.
Sean Payton got asked today about his year away from football, the season that he spent at
Where he made the
Fox.
movies?
That was also
something
a year.
else, yeah.
That was also a year away from football. Yeah, well played.
Oh, I legit thought I forgot. I completely forgot the Fox thing existed. I don't know why.
You should have just stayed quiet. I wanted to give you credit for a good line. That was strong. But Sean Payton on missing being away from football and missing a chance to be in the playoffs. Here's Sean today.
Just all of it. Here's when you're in it, and I'm not even talking about the playoffs, and the season begins every hour. As soon as I finish here, like everything matters. And there's so many things that it's amazing. It seemed like yesterday we were starting the season, and so the weeks fly by. But the details, everything matters. And then all of a sudden, when you're away from it, man, there's that void of. There are a few things that matter once.
You know, it's the fact that it gives that answer right there, I think, is telling of his brilliance as a head coach. The everything matters part of it. Of there is no detail that is worth overlooking, and that structure and that obsession in his life is a huge part of what drives him to be a really good football coach. And he leaves the game, and some guys, honestly, Andy, some guys leave the grind and they're just like, good, wash my hands of it.
Bill Cowher.
That's exactly. Yeah. It turns out I didn't need it all that much. Sean Payton's just, he's a different dude. He lives for this crap. He's the guy that drives around the sushi restaurant pissed off that execution wasn't good enough even in a game that they won.
Yeah, I do wonder when he looked at it, and again, to your point about the year at Fox, which, again, I don't know.
It happened.
I know. I don't know. I forgot, but I did. I wondered if he watched what they were doing in the NFL with some of these things and just saw it. Well, like Rex Ryan, right? Rex Ryan goes on TV and does it every day.
Yeah.
If I was coaching that team, I wouldn't have had this. This wouldn't happen on my watch. I promise. I'll get rid of that country club.
Right.
I wonder how much just offensively in the game Sean was watching and going, are you kidding me? I'm going to go back and I'm going to do it better. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
What do we think we're doing here?
Yeah, I think that probably was a part of it. Mike Shanahan honestly did that. In his time between Denver and Washington, he holed up in the Shanahan Mansion and sat around and he just grinded tape every single day. Fangio did it his year away from football of just, okay, let me get back in the lab. Mike McCarthy claimed that he did it, and then he got hired by the Cowboys, and he was like, oh, yeah, I didn't actually do any of that stuff. But I do think, like, the guys that are nuts about this stuff really do those things.
When you know a coach is a little nutty and it's not out of his blood, they seem to go get an office.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like, Shanahan has an office. I think it's pretty well known, right? There's a bunch of old coaches that just go and get an office. I need a place to go to. I need something to do with myself. I need to be in a routine.
Yeah.
You know? Cowher, I guess his office, he just went ahead and made it that television gig. I don't know. But
yeah. It's not a bad life, right? You could, like, Jason Garrett can hang out on NBC every single week, and I don't need this anymore. I coached the Dallas Cowboys for 10 years. Probably took 2 decades off my life. I'm good, you know? Other guys, hey, Sean went and did it, and you know what? Like, to his credit, he hadn't half-assed this thing. All that stuff that he said about Bo Nix after the draft, He wasn't blowing smoke. He loved the dude.
He really did.
He really did fall in love with him, and he really does have a quarterback that is a great fit for what he wants to do for where he was picking in the draft. And so he is not like he could have kept Russ around and said, I can't deal with $85 million in dead cap space. Let's try and fix this for one more year, and if we win, whatever, we're in a rebuild. What do I care? But it was, hey, I want to get on with my football life. Worked out pretty damn good. They got a playoff game on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. Jeff Legwold joins us to preview that matchup next. Yeah, Jeff Legwold's going to be there on Sunday, 11 a.m., Highmark Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. Broncos 8.5-point dogs going on the road to take on the mighty Bills. Jeff, how did the seeds of a 70-20 defeat at Miami, how did those grow into the Broncos defensive unit today, which is one of the very best in all of the NFL?
Well, Nate, just from talking to everybody about it, I think the biggest thing was that the fact they dug out during the season last year. They had a 5 or 6 game run there where they were the top scoring defense in the league after all that had happened, in the first few weeks overall, let alone Miami. But, they exited Miami as the worst defense in football, and then they were able to, in the same season, put together a run where they were the best scoring defense in the NFL. And I think that just gave them sort of a root confidence in the plan. And then, you add, John Franklin Myers as a gift in the off season from the Jets, essentially. They make a really good signing in Malcolm Roach, and Pat Surtain goes to another level that, I don't know, maybe other than him, maybe people didn't really believe he could have that next level after how well he played last year and the year before. But I think all of those things have come together, and I think Vance Joseph was given a lot of credit by the players for holding everything together last year. And this year he has the defense he's always wanted. He never had this kind of personnel in Arizona when he was coordinator there. Even the year he was coordinator in Miami before the Broncos hired him way back, he didn't have this kind of personnel. This defense is finally the personnel he's always wanted up front, especially in the front seven, to play defense the way he wants to. He is a Wade Phillips disciple. He wants to play aggressive. He wants to put the quarterback on the ground, and he wants to play a lot of man-to-man coverage behind all of that. And this year he has the group to do it.
Do you think there's going to be some more interview requests for him real quick before we really get into the nuts and bolts of the game? Do you think this is a guy that once, I don't know, let's say they don't pull the upset this weekend, do you think his name becomes hot in the coaching carousel, or what do you think happens?
Andy, it's already out there. The Jets have asked permission, and I know a couple other teams have discussed him internally, about whether they should reach out or not. And I don't think everybody, especially the teams that have fired their general managers too, they may not have their entire list of candidates out there. But in general, it may be next year too. I mean, he's a defensive coach. And you guys know, I've always said they face an uphill battle. Like, listen to what owners say when they fire their coaches. We want, more pizzazz. I think, Shad Khan in Jacksonville said we need more deception on offense. They're always talking about offense. And I think defensive coaches have a little bit more of a hill to climb to be the hot candidate. But certainly if they were to pull an upset, he is already on teams' radar, but he would be even more on the radar if they pulled an upset, and even moving forward in the next season too. Sometimes it's like the Pro Bowl. It's not the year maybe you deserve it most, but the following year that you get the real notice.
Jeff Legwold, his appearances, as always, are brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW Local 68. Start with a job, you end with a career. Taking a look at this Buffalo defense and how the Denver offense matches up against them. Jeff, Buffalo, they want to run a ton of nickel. They want to hang out in zone. They want to keep you in front of them. What does Sean Payton's game plan have to look like to counter the kind of game plan that Sean McDermott wants to throw at them?
Yeah, I mean, I think today I asked Sean a little bit, do you subscribe to the theory you got to keep the ball away from a big-time offense or a big-time quarterback? And, he said it's kind of game flow, but I do think it has to impact, how they do things offensively. I will say Detroit especially really gave the Bills a problem between the numbers, which is where Bo Nix is at his best in the passing game, and play action. Detroit's a upper tier offense, one of the highest scoring offenses in the league, along with the Bills. So, maybe that's not the comparison we should make, but the teams that have moved the ball have attacked the middle of the field. They're not a small group of players like if you see them in the airport, but they are a smaller defense in the NFL circles. So I think attacking the middle of the formation is really the way to go. And, McDermott will try some things to confuse Bo Nix because he's a rookie quarterback, and McDermott's been around a long time. This is a guy who was on Andy Reid's staff in Philadelphia. So he's seen some things, but I really think the middle of the formation, if you see the Broncos doing well in the run game when they do, even if they don't commit to it immensely, if they're making efficient carries and getting second and 5, even second and 4, then things are going the way they want.
All right. What will be the key to them pulling this upset? What will be at the core of them getting an upset?
Andy, Josh Allen has just an okay day. That's really what you're looking for. Last year when they upset them there, now this isn't the same Josh Allen. He's far more decisive. He is having a far better year than he did last year as an individual player, but they did not sack Josh Allen in that game last year, but they kept him where they wanted him more often because he is the ultimate quandary to rush, because his QBR, a good metric for quarterbacks because it includes running the ball, but his QBR is 12 points higher under pressure than it is when he faces no pressure.
How is that possible, by the way? That's insane to me.
Better if you come after him, and that is really the dilemma, because you want to get after him. You want to unsettle the quarterback. You want him off his spot, usually. But once this guy gets off his spot, then he really goes to work. And I think that's the Broncos' issue, is sort of, and Vance Joseph yesterday put it as contain and then pressure. And I think that's a good way to phrase it. Keep him where you want him, and then get people in his face. But if he starts getting loose, that's a problem. So if I compare this Bills team to sort of a lot of the Bronco teams with Elway before Terrell Davis was on the scene. He is pulling this team as far as it will go, and he will be the reason they get there. Think about it. He has as many rushing touchdowns as the quarterback as the Broncos do as a team. So, this guy is everything they're about right now. And if he just has an average day, just an okay day, your chances are better. But I will say, only Detroit played more man-to-man defense than the Broncos this year, and it was only by 0.1% more, so roughly the same. And we all know what he did to Detroit, 362 and 2 touchdowns. So he really is a dilemma, and how you handle him determines how you do against him.
Yeah, you only had 6 interceptions this entire season. He fumbled 5 times, only lost 2 of them. 8 turnovers all year. This was always sort of the flaw with Josh Allen, and the Broncos were able to take advantage of that last year. Why is he different now here in 2024/25, Leggy, and how can the Broncos get him to cough it up a time or two?
That's the thing, Nate. We always think about, getting rid of star players is not a good thing, but in this case, when they moved Diggs out of the rotation, as it were, it became more of he gets to just put the ball where the best decision is. He didn't have to worry about certain people getting targets, and some of that is maturing as a quarterback. Younger quarterbacks tend to worry about getting guys certain touches and all of that. And the best offenses don't really worry about that. You know, locally, the 2013 Broncos never worried about who was getting the ball. And those are the best offenses. And once he was sort of free, for whatever reason, once he was free from that, you've seen the result. I mean, look how many guys they have with touchdowns this year. Look how many guys they have with catches. You know, he is really putting the ball in that particular play the best place. And that's the reason he hasn't turned it over. I think a big reason is just that maturity. I don't have to force it anywhere. I'm just going to throw it to the place that makes the most sense.
All right, 5 All-Pros. I didn't expect the number to be that high. Now, granted, that's first and second team combined, but still a very high number, Jeff. What led to this?
Oh, it's talent. I mean, I think it's very telling, you know, I think it's only fair to point out we all crushed George Payton for Russell Wilson and Randy Gregory and all the rest of it, but 4 of the 5 Pro Bowlers are Bronco draft picks. And 3 of them were the first pick they made in 3 consecutive drafts. So there is young talent on this team, and it's been recognized. And I think the first teamers especially should have been the Pro Bowlers. You know, Quinn Minard should have been in the Pro Bowler. I talk to GMs all the time who say simply he's one of the 2 or 3 best guards in the league. And Mims is the best punt returner in the league, and now we've seen what he can do as a receiver if they just get him involved. So I think that's deserving. And Surtain is, you know, almost goes without saying. I think he will be in that slot for a very long time unless people just get sick of voting him there. And Zach Allen has had an awesome season. He of all the Pro Bowl snubs, and there are always plenty, he was one of the worst league-wide. I talk to football people, and just the fact, you know, how high his snap count is, how much he plays, how productive he is at an 85-90% play rate. I mean, that's unheard of among defensive linemen, and he routinely plays that way. And, you know, again, that's all the players they had were very deserving, I think. I think they're all pro guys.
Jeff Legwold on the Ramos Law Hotline. Car accident, you need Ramos Law, medical doctor and attorney. Visit ramoslaw.com. Jeff, conventional wisdom says rookie quarterbacks don't win playoff games. Why can Bo Nix be different?
I think his biggest assignment will be not to try to be anything he hasn't been this year, if that makes sense. You know, don't, you know, what is it people say? Don't get over your skis too far. You know, it's just don't let the moment get away from you. And it'll be difficult. That place is crazy during playoff games. And I know everybody thinks they have a great home field environment and all of that, but that place is just different. I'm just telling you, it's just different anyway. But in the playoffs, it's another, the fans are right behind you, behind the bench. It's like Oakland used to be, you know, for older Bronco fans. So the fans are right behind the team. You screw up, they're going to just ride you and let you know it. It takes a certain amount of callous to let that roll off you. And just the noise and the weather and the wind and the rest of it it's really important for him just to be as settled as possible when he's making decisions. Don't overreach. Don't force a ball. You know, especially outside the numbers. They will do what defenses have done the last few weeks here. They will try to force him to push the ball outside because that's where his turnovers come.
All right, just one quick comment on the coaching carousel situation right now. Do you buy anything with Belichick maybe not truly staying in North Carolina? What do you think of – it's kind of a weird cycle, Jeff. You used to always tell us when we were having these discussions instead of playoff discussions, don't fire a guy – unless you really think of better answers out there. It doesn't feel like there's too many better answers for how many coaching openings we've got.
There really isn't. And, I mean, there's going to be a lot of flyers taken this year, a lot of first-timers, I think. But I can only, you know, I've been told, you know, most of the people I know in the league don't buy the whole Belichick's coming back thing. And I will say Mike Lombardi, who has worked with Bill and many places, including all the way back in Cleveland, and is now working with Bill at North Carolina. Mike worked for the Broncos for a year. He's the former general manager of the Raiders. But Mike Lombardi said there's absolutely no truth to anything about Bill not staying at North Carolina. And they, and Mike is really sort of Bill's spokesman these days at the school. He's like the GM for Bill for that team. And Mike says there's no truth to it. And they got a big transfer portal, player yesterday. So I think it's somebody, maybe even Bill's agent, trying to mess around. The buyout is low, and that's why people have, that's why this is swirling. The buyout's very minimal. It's $10 million until June 1st, and then it's only $1 million after June 1st. So I think that's why this is swirling. Why isn't the buyout, like most coaches, this huge number that would prevent you from going anywhere?
Leggy, really quick. Drew Aller, Abdul Carter, a couple of blue chip prospects that we saw last night. Drew Aller can change his mind. He can still jump into the draft. Yeah, I know he had the bad late interception, but he didn't do an awful lot of that last year. What did you think of Penn State's two top prospects last night?
Well, the pass rusher is one of the best players on the board. I think he and Travis Hunter.
He's a beast.
Are the two best athletes, pure athletes I've seen this year in my study. But he is ready-made to walk in and be an impact pass rusher. And when you see a guy like Chop Robinson doing what he's doing as an NFL rookie, and you think about those guys were in the same defense, then it really sort of staggers you. But just nobody transitions quicker than pass rushers, and he is the best, in my mind, he's the best pass rusher on the board.
And should Broncos fans be loading up on their Lone Tree Broncos merchandise?
Yeah.
You mean the tight end?
No. The
possible site for a new stadium.
Oh, yeah. No, just logic tells you. I mean, I think 60% of their season ticket holders are sort of south of the Denver city limits. So if you're going where the customers are, a site, and it's far easier for them to get the land down there than it would be to clear out some of the interesting sites downtown. So it's just a matter of how much pressure they feel to have a downtown stadium with a downtown environment with their team. But this is an ownership group that wants more than just a stadium stuck out there, by itself. It wants things to go with it. So I think ultimately that will impact the decision. But certainly Lone Tree will be one of the sites they consider a great deal, because that is where the majority of their customers, south of Denver is where most of their season ticket holders are.
The land of the single tree. Jeff Legwold, everybody. ESPN.com. Read his stuff right there. He'll be out in Buffalo/Orchard Park covering the game. Leggy, travel safe. We'll talk to you Monday.
Thank you, fellas. See you.
All right, good stuff as always with Jeff Legwold right there. Andy, we're taking a look at this matchup. We got Broncos-Bills drinking game coming up at 5:20. The high five is at 5 o'clock. The five biggest stories of the day from around the NFL. Plus, I got a matchup. I got a matchup that the Broncos are going to need to win to get this victory. And one of their corners is going to have a great game, and it's not the one you're thinking of. We'll tell you who that is next. Oh, happiest of Scott Fridays to all that celebrate. Denver Buffalo coming up here on Sunday. All right, Andy. So when the Broncos go man, Patrick Surtain and Riley Moss, they will probably match up with some combination of Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper for the Bills. Coleman probably the big play threat right now, so maybe Surtain could be well employed there, and Riley Moss would match up well size-wise with Amari Cooper. That could look pretty good. So here's the thing we know about the Bills. 13 different dudes, and Legwell just talked about this. 13 different dudes caught touchdown passes on that team, right? They spread around. It's kind of the Bills' thing.
Because they don't have to put up with Stephon Diggs, as we kind of talked about a little bit earlier. Nate Leggy kind of putting that out, that you can just go where the play takes you now. No
Khalil Shakir.
Yes, the rookie.
Second-year guy, I think.
Is he second year?
Yeah.
Thought he was the top pick. Who was the top pick?
That was Coleman.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Khalil Shakir, slot dude, speedy, dangerous. That's Jaquan McMillan.
Yeah, I had a feeling that's where you're going with that.
Yeah. Shakir is the guy that can win quick off the line of scrimmage, Boise State dude. And he's the guy that Josh Allen is going to be looking for when he's running around and looking for that second and third play, so to speak, out there. That's where Jaquan McMillan is going to have to be able to win in this game. If Riley Moss is feeling good, I don't worry about Surtain because he rules. It's going to come down to, okay, is McMillan in man situations doing a good enough job against Shakir? If Shakir's beating him, could be tough for the Broncos. If Jaquan McMillan is hanging in that matchup, then that keeps Denver right in this game, and it gives an opportunity to be able to, actually hit Josh Allen behind the line of scrimmage and get him down.
Who's the Bills' tight end?
Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox.
So are they both healthy finally?
Yes.
Because I know they've been having their turns of not being healthy.
Yes. Kincaid is the second most targeted receiver against man coverage. The Broncos actually, they haven't been slaughtered by tight ends this year the way they kind of have been in the past.
Yeah, well, in part, though, they've been able to put Surtain on those tight end matchups
when they need to.
So
yeah.
Is this one where, again, how dangerous do we find Amari Cooper? That's the question for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you go ahead, because I know our guy Flax had asked about this. I've been thinking about this all week with Amari Cooper, and you've brought up a couple of times, it makes sense to go to the former Pro Bowler in Amari Cooper and put Surtain on him.
Yeah.
But has he been dangerous enough to, maybe you start with that assignment, but you're ready to move it? This isn't this isn't Devontae Adams from back in the day, right? Where you need to just lock him up on there all day.
It's not Jamar Chase from right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe this is a game where the tight ends could actually be the key to some things with what you're describing, because I do feel good about the Denver secondary matchups for the most part.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't you?
Moss and Surtain are both absolutely studs. There's nothing necessarily to hate right there. One of the other tricky things, too, about those two tight ends is, again, Allen doesn't discriminate. He's not looking to force the ball to one or the other. Kincaid is the leading tight end, but Knox has good numbers. And he's not afraid to throw the ball in his direction. It's crazy when you look at it. Mac Hollins technically leads the Bills in touchdown catches this season with 5. I don't think we've mentioned his name this entire week here on the show, but 13 dudes have touchdown catches. Keon Coleman has 4 of them. Khalil Shakir has 4 of them. The running back Ty Johnson actually has 3. James Cook only has 2. He spreads the ball around. They're dangerous in the red zone. It's tough to figure out who to cover in these situations. Yeah, there's a reason why their offense scores basically 30 points every single week. These guys are awesome.
Yeah, this could be a game where you've just got to have enough people to cover this whole this cast of characters, this ensemble show that they're putting on right now. But I feel like the Broncos can. I don't know why I feel. Maybe it's just ignorance. Maybe it's just I haven't watched enough Buffalo Bills football. I don't know. I feel all right about the defense's matchup against this. I just feel like this is going to be one of those classic kind of boring keys to the game. Is always who turns the ball over more.
Right.
That literally could determine who wins this game.
Allen's only got 8 on the year. He has taken care of the football all season long. But like we saw with last year, and really the defensive personnel's yeah, Bo Nix is the quarterback now. Defensively, the Broncos aren't that different right now than what they were a season ago. And they had a lot of success when they went up there and played those guys.
They did. They also got some turnovers, though.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think James Cook, how many times did he fumble it last year? 2?
Yeah.
3?
3, I believe. Yeah, he was coughing the ball up in that game. Allen turned the ball over quickly in that game. That can be what makes the difference here is the old turnover battle. You've played this guy. You know what you have to do. I love the way the leggy put it is you have to keep him hemmed in and then you have to finish. It's
right.
almost like you get him on the secondary rush. If you send somebody off the edge to go and get Josh Allen, he's just probably going to make a miss.
Yeah. Look, he's probably going to score some points against you.
Yeah.
You have to be able to answer at the time to keep momentum on your side. The defense may need to give the offense a couple, 3 cracks at getting a game tied. Stuff like that. I mean, You're the lower seed for a reason, okay? I'm not going to completely dismiss this. The Bills have been building towards this. The Bills are now at a point in their evolution where the next step is getting to the dang big game and maybe even winning.
Yeah,
right?
that's a 13-win team right there.
So I just don't like dismissing them, but
you shouldn't.
Still feel good.
They're an 8.5-point favorite.
See how long I feel good Sunday.
Well, you can hang in there, buddy. Yeah, you might have a good time.
Might.
For a while. Earlier today, I had a chance to catch up with Alex Kane. He's the CEO over at Sporttrade, and we've been telling you how in Sporttrade you can bet games as probabilities. Well, right now, Sporttrade looking at Denver as an 8.5-point dog on the money line. They're giving Denver a 20% probability to win this game. I talked to Alex about why taking Denver at that 20% might be a savvy strategy.
Yeah, I think this is a great game to sort of look at a buy low opportunity, right? And that's the beauty of Sporttrade. You know, I see 8.5 as the spread. I see that Denver's offered at 20%, which is about plus 400. And I think a lot of people out there might say, I don't want to bet Denver plus 400. But what you may consider doing is buying Denver at 20%. Now, functionally, same exact odds, but what really differentiates Sporttrade is you're really looking for movement. You're really saying, well, do I think they're going to, if they score first, if they're in the game, they hang in the game late, they're in the third or fourth quarter, and they're within a score, what does that probability go to? Does it go to 30%? Does it go to 40%? If it goes to 40%, you double your money. So I love buying low in these sort of games because in the playoffs, anything can happen. Bo Nix is a playmaker. Josh Allen's been uncharacteristically really responsible with the football, but we know generally he tends to throw a lot of interceptions. And can that happen early in the game and Denver take a 10-0 lead, which case that 20% hits 50%, and then you can dish out of it. And that's the magic of Sporttrade.
Yeah, get a couple of turnovers early on in this game, watch the Broncos get a lead, and then see what happens. Again, like it's going to be incumbent on the Denver defense. Like, don't let Josh Allen just start the game with 3 scoring drives, okay? Like, I know we've been talking a lot about Bo Nix and everything else this week, but also, like, hey, when they went up against Joe Burrow, he carved him up. When he went up against Herbert, had his success. Lamar Jackson had his way. Like, Denver's defense has struggled with the elite quarterbacks so far this season. Get an early turnover, hang in this game, and then things get interesting. Don't just let this guy go off on you. That's going to be key for Denver. We got the 5 biggest stories of the day from around the NFL. Coming up next, Broncos-Bills drinking game at 5:20. Keep it here on Kreckman and Lindahl. All right, time for football news on a Friday afternoon. We call it the High Five. We launch into it right now. Mark Springer, what do you got for us?
Let's do the High Five, brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. Broncos-Bills final injury report ahead of Sunday's game. Tyler Bidet has practiced in full all week. He is questionable to make his return from his back injury. Frank Crum, one of the Broncos tackles, is out with an illness. For the Bills, their kick returner and punt returner, Brandon Codrington, is questionable with a hamstring injury. Sean Payton was asked today what gives him confidence that this team, a younger team, is ready for this moment.
I would only say past experience, history. Look, there's several things that even in last year's regular season. Take any of our games we've played this year. The momentum pendulum is going to swing back and forth. But I think the exposure and the experience of these past 17 weeks.
Yeah, that didn't really answer the question, Sean. I think it's about you have a young team that was good in the regular season, but now they're going into the postseason, and it's their first time, blah, blah, blah. Look, rookie quarterbacks, they don't win all that often in the postseason, especially when they're going up against MVP candidates. We know what that mismatch is. However, Andy, and this is the one where I will lean in a little bit to the Bo Nix cliches of so far, he hasn't really had the moment is too big for me kind of game. And this is where you give Sean a whole bunch of credit. They generally keep him within himself. He is not asked to sit back in the pocket and go through 4 reads and diagnose and everything else like that. It is Sean Payton getting him easy buttons all over the place, and it's gotten the kid confident, and it's got him playing better. I don't think he's going to kill his team with mistakes this week. I'm not saying that Bo's not going to throw a pick or Bo's not going to turn it over or anything like that, but I will be stunned if we're talking about this game on Sunday night on Altitude Sports Radio and we're like, what the hell, Bo Nix threw 3 picks. I just don't think that's the performance we're going to go watch.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know. I feel good about it. And if he has the moment, then he has the moment. I can't rule anything out. I will say this. You're right. For the most part, most of this season, there hasn't been a holy cow moment.
Yeah.
He had a little bit of one in Seattle, his first NFL game. This is his first NFL playoff game. If there was a little bit of that to happen, all right, then it happens. But
had some rough moments against Indy, but
sure,
Indy had rougher moments.
Yeah, this is why I say though it's up to the defense. The defense has to know you're going to have to give this offense, a little bit of a chance. They're probably not going to go point for point with the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
Maybe they will. They already, they had a fun game against Cleveland where that's kind of what was going on. But
that was Cleveland.
You got here off your defense. I would say the pressure, if there's pressure on this team, it's more on the defense to hold down this Buffalo offense and give your offense a chance to find the rhythm like they have. Again, Sean's had some really good first drives of the game, first drives of the half. Doesn't always happen, though. So, I don't know, man. This is all such extra frosting on this cake. I hope it's a close game. I think it'll be a close game. I do like the matchup for them. But that place is rowdy. It is nutty. And I don't know. I told you, Nate, we'll see what happens. Like you said, I think Sean will have a good game plan for it. But again, I think the pressure falls on the defense to keep this thing manageable.
Yeah, Bo Nix knows there's no place he can hide because the rhythm is going to get you.
High five.
The Broncos had 5 players named to the AP All-Pro teams, 3 on the first team, 2 on the second team. Patrick Surtain, Quinn Miners, and Marvin Mims, as a punt returner, made the AP All-Pro first team. Making the second team were defensive lineman Zach Allen and outside linebacker Nick Bonito. Hey, Quinn Miners, 3rd-round pick out of University of Wisconsin-Whitewater in 2021, was asked today what it means for him to be first-team All-Pro at right guard.
When that comes out, that kind of is the true ranking of where people are at, and to be named the number 1 right guard is it's incredible.
That's a great answer from Quinn Miners. That's the true ranking. I am number 1.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And I got that contract to prove it.
Yeah, got himself the honor right there. First team quarterback Lamar Jackson over Josh Allen, who is the second team All-Pro quarterback. So, yeah, Lamar maybe he is going to pull off this MVP thing. Saquon Barkley, your first team running back. Andy, your guy Brock Bowers, first team tight end. Validation for Lindahl. Jamar Chase.
Hold on, are you just going to skip over fullback? Patrick Ricard?
I was, yes.
Don't ignore the fullback. Yeah! They're people, too.
I was. Why did they still name a first-team fullback?
Because there's 4 of them.
Who knows? Someone's got to be the best. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Your wide receivers, Tristan Wirfs, Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, Quinn Miners, and Penei Sewell, who is awesome. They are across the front there on the offensive line. Defensively, the edge rushers, Nick Bonito got second team. Myles Garrett and Trey Hendrickson were first team, both out of the AFC North. Cam Hayward and Chris Jones in the middle. Zach Allen was second team. Whatever. We don't get to read the whole thing. Patrick Surtain, first team corner, along with Derek Stingley out of Houston, a fellow high draft pick right there. But good to see Patrick Surtain getting first team love, although not unanimous. Only 49 of 50 first team votes. Marvin Mims, the punt returner. Marvin Mims, first team punt returner. Kavontae Turpin out of Dallas, who can fly. He was the first team kick returner. Do you want me to give you the long snapper, Andy?
Sure,
Andrew
why not? That's your guy.
DePaula out of Minnesota. He snaps long better than everybody.
Did Fraboni have a shot at this?
I don't remember him having a bad snap this year. Do you?
No, I mean, again,
I think he was solid.
This is one of those things where I don't mean to be a jerk, but how do you determine this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, aren't most guys, if you stink at snapping, they get rid of you?
Yeah.
Like, what makes one elite over the others?
I don't remember a single bad Fraboni snap this season.
I don't either, but I'm just saying.
But apparently, DePaula was even.
He was better.
He was better.
Was it because maybe he had more? Is it determined by number of snaps you made?
Could be.
In scoring plays, be it extra points or field goals?
There's got to be a site out there that tracks if you've had any errant snaps.
I'm sure there's data for everything.
It's got to be out there.
I just am curious how you determine who is the true all-pro at that.
Is there any, like, you know how we always talk about, there's pitchers that have their personal catchers? Are there punters that have personal long snappers? Like this guy zips it right exactly where I don't even have to think about it. I'm just catching, dropping, and booting.
Yeah, I don't know about all of that. You know what I mean? I don't know about
Punter
all of that.
Punter doesn't carry that kind of weight.
No, I do.
With the salary cap.
No, I know for a fact. I can remember when Dave Diaz-Infante, so I was working the radio show with Dave Diaz-Infante back in the day, and he thought they were going to sign him at one point. It was they switched long snappers mid-season.
Yeah.
It was one of these early 2000 seasons. I'm not even sure. And it was because whoever was kicking at the time, which I believe might have still been Elam, did like how they all worked together well. He did like Doc, and that was when they ultimately signed, God, he was a tight end, and he was with the team for a really long time. Leach, thank you. Mike Leach is the one that got the job. They love Mike Leach. And I know if the kicker had their say or the punter had their say, they wanted them to bring Doc back because they'd worked with him before. So, yes, I know the kickers have preferences, but I don't think it works out to what you're talking about.
Long snapper politics.
Speaking of which, remember when Mike, who was our big pitcher signee from the Astros?
Hampton.
Yes.
Hampton liked Brett Maine, but they were really trying to get Ben Petrick in there. Hampton had like an all-star very first season with the Colorado Rockies. They got rid of Maine mid-season, and Hampton was never the same.
Some guy in the text line says, way to jinx the long snapper, Kreckman. Cool, Carl. I brought him up. He's had a great year.
Listen, that's mean. That's mean. Kevin, we're okay. I didn't say anything. We're fine.
He's had a good year. Are we not supposed to? Is that first rule of long snapping? You don't talk about the long snapper?
I don't know. No, it is one of those things. Guys will tell you either can do it or you can't.
Yeah.
They can't teach people to do it. You and I watched plenty of training camps where the Broncos tried like heck to get 9 different guys that were actually linemen that were going to play on the team to be able to long snap.
Right.
So they did not have to carry a long snapper.
Never
now
works.
it's just kind of what you do. But once upon a time, they really wanted an O-lineman that was like a backup guy to be the long snapper.
They legit have long snapping clinics, camps. There's a cottage industry about quality long snapping.
There's a lot of guys that'll tell you they either can do it or they can't. It's just not something that apparently you teach very easily.
The other thing about it too was it was a way to get to the NFL without being like an NFL athlete. It's sort of like, do you just have this freakish skill? Boom, you've got it.
I know.
You can do it. You can play in the league. You can make a paycheck. It's
forever.
wild.
Like forever.
Yeah, go ahead, Spring.
High five. Yeah, Mitchell Fabroni ain't no jabroni. He'll be fine. He'll be fine on Sunday.
Mitchell Jabroni.
Mitchell, not a jabroni. Hey, according to 9 News, the Broncos are exploring. They're kicking the tires. Nothing official yet. In terms of a new stadium, maybe they could renovate their current site. That's on the table. They could explore another area downtown, or they could look toward the South Suburban metro area with the city Lone Tree being named as a possible new site for the Broncos' new stadium.
9 News has learned the Broncos executives and ownership have considered Lone Tree, the land of a single tree, including having conversations with city officials in recent months as a possible location for a new stadium. Your South Suburban Broncos, Andy. How does that, Mr. Denver, how does that scratch you?
I like where it is downtown.
I do as well.
I guess I need to figure out where are they going to put it? I can't imagine. Like, I'm trying to remember, where did they put this thing? You know, now I understand there's going to be some problems. You need a massive amount of land. We're not talking just about a little bit of land.
Yeah,
you need a massive amount of land. Where are they saying this is supposed to be?
I don't know. Somewhere in Lone Tree.
Could be out towards like Sky Ridge Medical
Lone
Center.
Tree's just yonder here.
Yeah,
I don't know where a gigantic NFL stadium goes in.
Oh, there's a lot of open space down here. That is no problem. You can put an NFL stadium down here if you really need to. It's just, is that where everybody wants to go?
Hey, look, for us, I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. But I don't know. Like, if you live up north, Johnny Jazz Cabbage coming in. If you live in Loveland, it's going to be a tough drive. You know, I mean, look, they do pull from the whole state. So I think downtown's probably best. Can we all agree we don't want it out too far by the airport, though? I don't think anybody wants it going that far out east.
Is the current location next to I-25, where it's right in the heart of the city, where as a commuter, most downtown commuters drive past it every single day? Is that iconic? Does that feel like a critical part of the Denver skyline, scenery, whatever it may be? It feels like it to me, but people can tell me if I'm way off on all of this. But the stadium being right there next to I-25, to me, it's like damn right the Denver Broncos are right in the heart of Denver.
Yeah, look, I've lived here my whole life, so yes, that's where you go to watch a football game.
Yeah,
and I think it'd be a shame to move it, but. They're going to do what they're going to do. I don't know what to say.
The Burnham Yard area could also be a possibility. That's sort of between the 8th and 6th exit. Right off the side of I-25, right there. Close proximity to where the current stadium is, and an awful lot of land out there that could then be redeveloped. You could get all of your entertainment district kind of stuff. I mean, it would revitalize a kind of... we'll call it quieter area of Denver right now. Sort of the way, honestly, the Coors Field originally did for Lodo.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how this all works out. I mean, again, in my preference, you just knock down the building, find somewhere for them to play. I don't know where, but find somewhere that maybe it's Folsom, maybe it's wherever.
Yeah.
And you build it right there. But doesn't get the vibe that's what they're looking at, right?
No.
See, again, when Jeff, we'll speak French for Jeff. When Jeff says they want a lot of other things with it, we all know. They want the retail, they want the office space. They build these complexes and they own everything.
They want the tax breaks.
Well, there you go.
They want to save. They want a city that's going to cough up some dough. That's why they're talking a Lone Tree. Go ahead, Spring.
High five. Deshaun Watson originally had a surgery on his ruptured Achilles tendons on October 25th. Then apparently at his exit physical with the Cleveland Browns, he complained of discomfort after rolling his ankle in Miami. I'm not sure what he was recently doing in Miami, but he rolled his ankle there and had to have a second surgery on a subsequent rupture of that same Achilles yesterday. There is a thought that he could be out the entire season, the 2025 season.
I was thinking about this when I saw this news today, Andy.
Okay.
Falls from grace. Deshaun Watson, Clemson star, got to the NFL. Remember, he's in Houston. You know, you got the cafeteria workers telling stories of Deshaun helping out their families and just like the good guy reputation was everywhere on Deshaun Watson. And he was a really damn good player. Hell, we thought he could be a good fit here in Denver when things went south with the Texans. I was all for it. Hell yeah, you go and get that guy. He was a really good player. He now is an awful player. Can't get on the field, worst contract in NFL history, and pretty well-documented scumbag. This is kind of his, like all of it fell. The entire floor fell for Deshaun Watson outside of the part where, you know, he gets a really good paycheck.
Yeah, and now I don't think Cleveland's going to be so upset that he doesn't get to play again.
Right. They're going to be thrilled to have him gone.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, Jimmy Haslam was like, this is what's going to save our franchise.
I was trying to remember the player, and then I realized it's Myles Garrett. Basically said, I want to know what the plan at quarterback is before you guys resign me to anything. I believe he's up for a contract or one's showing up, or was he going to ask for a trade or whatever? But he said just a couple weeks ago, the story was, I want to know what you plan on doing at quarterback. Basically, I took that to mean, are you going to force Deshaun Watson on us again?
I will tell you when we come back why Sean Payton has to be the MVP for the Broncos to win coming up here on Sunday, plus Broncos-Bills drinking game before we get out of here on a Friday afternoon. That is the Kreckman and Lindahl Show. You know, Andy, they literally could lose a playoff game. Hey, Nate here for Apple Air. Apple Air, family owned and operated, serving the greater Denver area since 1988. They're going to be around well after they have installed a new heating or cooling system in your home. And they're going to be around to make sure that they live up to their 100% satisfaction guarantee. So if you need help with an existing heating, air, or plumbing system in your home, call up Apple Air. My ancient furnace could not go on any longer. We had Apple Air come out. They installed a Daikin 2-stage high-efficiency furnace, and I got $750 off the purchase of that new high-efficient furnace. And I know you're thinking to yourself right now, well, Nate, you got those savings because you're a big radio superstar. No, you can get those savings too. That $750 off, that applies to all customers at Apple Air. So give them a call, 303-733-2813, 303-733-2813, or visit appleair.com. You know, Josh Allen's pretty good, right?
Josh Allen?
He's not
Very
bad.
good.
Yeah. One good way to beat that guy, not let him go out on the field. What if there is a world, Andy, where the Broncos going up against this smaller, faster Bills defense, that's how Sean McDermott has built this thing out, that wants to be in nickel basically all the time. What if Sean Payton says, cool, double tight, we're going to live in the screen game, throwing into the flat, running the football, controlling the clock. By the way, Buffalo, Andy, one of the worst third down defenses in all the NFL, allowing their opponents to convert 43% of the time on third down, where the Broncos are staying ahead of schedule, punishing them with the success rate, converting 3rd and 4, 3, 2, good situations, and just plodding their way down the field, hopefully finishing in the red zone, but field goals might not be the worst thing in the world. And that guy just can't get out on the field because the Buffalo defense can't get off the field. Sound good?
Yeah, if you can do it.
You in?
Now, you know how that might work. This is where that short passing game that they've been very, very good at.
Yeah.
This is where they could benefit the Broncos. But you're going to have to keep eating up those, keep on schedule, keep the small chunk plays going. Marvin Mims would be great if you ran off a few of those nice screen passes that they had there, right? Let's go ahead and get active with that.
Bubble screen game has become effective.
This is why I continue to feel good about this. Look, I don't ultimately know if I really buy that they're going to win. I'll just say that. I really don't. But I've seen this team go up against more matchups I hate more than this one. How about I put it that way? Because, again, I do think there's a pressure that lies in Buffalo. They're just under a different kind of pressure than what anything the Broncos are dealing with. And I think whenever you're the team that has nothing to lose, as the promo laid out, you're the more dangerous team. You can go for 4th downs. You can do all the things. You don't have to play anything conventional if you don't want to.
No.
Rip out every trick play in your playbook because technically looking at things, I guess you probably don't have the better roster. That is crazy that the Bills don't have any All-Pros and the Broncos do. Or did they have a second-team All-Pro?
Josh
Allen was second-team All-Pro?
Yeah, but that's it. Like Deion Dawkins, their left tackle, is going to the Pro Bowl, but he was not voted All-Pro.
Right. I do think the other thing that works in the Broncos' favor is play the man coverage, get to the quarterback as you have all year. You know what? You've done that. Maybe play ball control offense and play a little keep away. Guess what? You've been able to do that. Now, again, is it going to be to the tune of 4 or 5 drives where you rip off 10, 12 plays, go 60, 70? Probably not. You're going to need a little help in there.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Broncos have to play too far out of their identity to get this thing done, and that's why I do think a lot of people feel like they could pull an upset.
A lot of people like to point out.
A lot of people be in the national media.
I guess, hell, I'd be one of them too. Josh Allen didn't take a lot of sacks.
No.
He was only sacked 14 times this year, a minuscule sack rate of 2.8% of his dropbacks, resulting in sacks. You go through the game log, though, and the game that he got hit the most was the Baltimore game. He got sacked 3 times in that game. Denver is the only team in the NFL that had more quarterback sacks this season than the Baltimore Ravens did. It goes to show you going up against an elite pass rush, and they didn't sack him 7 times like the Broncos did to Joe Burrow. But maybe that's all it takes. Maybe you sack him 3 times. Maybe you get him 3-4 times in this game. And he's tough to take down. We know that about it. But those are the third down drive-killing type of plays that then force them to punt or force them to kick field goals and not be able to finish drives. Again, like if the Broncos win this game, it's going to be snug. It's going to be fourth quarter. All of those things and those little differences are the thing that's going to ultimately get Denver over the hump. Now, maybe we're having this conversation and the Broncos just go out and lose by 30.
They might.
Okay? They are an extremely young team that is still in the rebuild and ahead of schedule, and Buffalo is playoff tested with an MVP candidate at quarterback. Hey, okay. I still don't consider anything that happened with the Denver Broncos this year a failure, even if that were to happen. But I think this Broncos defense is so damn good. They have an opportunity to be able to hang in this, even against an elite offense and an elite quarterback like that guy.
Yeah, I mean, look, the reality is we're not here in the media. If we wanted to, we could. If we were going to tell you that they were just going to get boat raced all week, then why talk about the game at all? That's just not really what the job is. And frankly, even in the NFL, but this is not just us.
I don't think they're going to.
I don't either.
I really don't think they're going to. Like I think Pittsburgh is going to get boat raced even without Zay Flowers in that game. Now maybe Mike Tomlin's got something up his sleeve, but that just looks like bad matchup all over the place. I don't see that for this game. And one of the big reasons why, too, is it's not like Denver is playing poorly coming into this game. Like, yeah, they lost 2 of their last 3. Those were also one-score losses against playoff teams on the road.
Yeah. Again, I'm with you. Pittsburgh, not only are they not playing well, they don't bad vibe.
Yeah.
It feels like everything's in a bad place at the wrong time for them.
And the Ravens are a damn machine.
And the Ravens are really, really good.
Yeah.
And, it's a playoff it's a divisional matchup, I should say. They know each other very well. Look, to your point, when it comes to the Broncos, I think the defense can keep them in it. I think if they have the right game plan and they can execute it properly, they can hang in it. They can eat some clock. They can keep the ball away, all that good stuff. But it requires you picking up first downs. Yeah, but look, even the national, it's not just us here. You hear us talking about it, and I'm sure some people, maybe if you're even from out of town, you drive by and you roll your eyes. The national media, there seems to be someone at every network that seems to think Denver's got a real shot at this thing. Now, I will also say, just for full disclosure, a lot of those people seem to be friends with Sean Payton, but there is a great belief in Sean Payton and his ability to handle these games.
Yeah.
And this is why you paid him. This is why you chose him. So let's just see if he can't pull it off one more time. I'm with you. Even if this becomes a game where the second half isn't worth watching, you still have not failed this season.
No, not in the slightest bit. But I think they hang in this game. We ready for some cocktails on a Friday
if
afternoon?
It's a bad deal.
Happy hour time? Why not?
We'll give you a reason to get through.
It is time for your Broncos-Bills drinking game. Sunday at 11 a.m. By the way, we're going to be on the air 9 a.m. Sunday morning here on Altitude Sports Radio. D-Mac and the Sandman will be out at number 38. Whole crew's going to be on there. You can watch the game with D-Mac at number 38, then finish the day. We'll do late night little Altitude After Dark action at 8 o'clock with a live commercial-free episode reacting to the Broncos playoff game on 92.5, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. So we will talk to all of you coming up here on Sunday. But you might want to have a couple of drinks during the game, or you might just want a soda or chips or pretzels or whatever it may be. Celebrate in whatever way you will. But here's your Broncos-Bills drinking game. Andy, in honor of our friend Del Reed, co-founder of the Bills Mafia, who we talked to yesterday, I got a number of Bills-related props to start off with. Game televised on CBS. If you see a Bills fan wearing...
I'm not doing nothing with CBS. Next question.
Thank you, Dion. If you see a Bills fan in Zubaz, if he is wearing any Zubaz, however you want to say it, pants, or, they make overalls now, Andy. Go ahead and drink. If you see a fan with his shirt off, you should drink. Drink twice if he's, corpulent.
I would have went skinny. I would have went skinny. You don't see a lot of skinny guys with their shirts off.
It doesn't happen all that often. It's usually the guys that are, packing some layers.
Pretty corpulent.
If a Bills fan throws a sex toy on the field, you should drink. Whoa. If the television telecast shows any shots of Broncos fans that have traveled to Orchard Park, drink.
Broncos Nation.
Drink twice if that fan is wearing a Bo Nix jersey. Let's get into some game stuff right here, Andy. If Josh Allen escapes a sack.
Josh Allen.
Drink.
I hope that doesn't happen too often.
If Josh Allen hurdles a would-be tackler. Drink.
Drank.
Uh-huh. And the other one I'll add is if Josh Allen fumbles the ball. He fumbled 5 times this season, though he's not coughed it up since week 7. If Josh Allen fumbles, go ahead and drink. Got some Von Miller drinking game props for you, Andy. If Von Miller gets a sack, drink. Or if Von Miller gets owned by Garrett Bowles, go ahead and drink. Yeah, I know Von's going to be rushing off the other side most of the time. And finally, if anybody in the stands has a half Von Miller Broncos, half
that's a good one.
Von Miller Bills jersey, I don't know if one exists, but if it does, you have to drink.
You're going to have it, though. Wouldn't you go with the Rams since those are his 2 Super Bowl winning spots? Or was he not there long enough? I wonder how many Von Miller Ram jerseys actually exist.
He had a good Super Bowl.
He had a great Super Bowl. He had a great playoff run. Made Tom Brady's life hell again with the Bucs.
Yeah. Any more Von Miller drop, Spring?
I'm DF-Dub. I'm down for whatever.
I miss that guy. Standards, Andy, if the Broncos complete a pass behind the line of scrimmage, drink.
Although they kind of need to do that.
Yeah, they need to do a lot of it, actually. It's a big part of their offense. Jaleel McLaughlin, if he has a first down run, you should drink. Any Marvin Mims carry gets a drink. All right. This one, just stay with me to the end. If Bo Nix misses Troy Franklin on a deep ball, drink. However, if Bo Nix connects with Troy Franklin on a deep ball, finish your drink. We've only been waiting all damn year for it. A Cortland Sutton touchdown should get you a drink. Holding on 72, drink. False start on 69, drink. Standards. McGlinchey on the road.
Uh-oh.
They're going to get him at least once.
Yeah, that's a loud stadium, man.
Yeah, that one's going to happen at least once.
Didn't I not go well in Baltimore? Things as loud as Baltimore. Louder, probably.
If the Broncos go 3 and out, drink.
All right.
Let's keep those to a minimum.
Yeah,
all right, guys.
Maybe that's where you take a little drink of water, stay hydrated on that sucker.
Yeah, By the way, Matty B says if anyone utters the phrase house money, do hand sanitizer shots.
Yeah, no. That was a whiff it today. I mean, that thing was, whoo! I don't do another one. Are you doing another one? Even the nozzle doesn't smell great?
Do you remember, like, in the 80s, what magic markers used to smell like? Permanent markers used to smell like back then?
Get you a good headache going.
We got one of those right here on the desk at work with the hand sand. That is...
Straight from the Moonshiners show.
That is called, we bought the discount brand and put it in the name brand.
Yeah, that was the refill.
Yeah. Hey, who hasn't poured a handle of Piccadilly vodka into the Sky bottle? It happens. Every time you hear the phrase All-Pro, you should drink. Every time you hear the phrase MVP, you should drink. When Jim Nantz says, this isn't even an if, when Jim Nantz says, hello, friends, start your day with a drink.
It'll be early in the morning.
Yes.
Maybe that's a mimosa, Bloody Mary.
Get you going, everybody.
Something of that ilk.
Anytime Tony Romo makes a funny noise during the broadcast, you have to drink.
Never touched him. That's a catch.
Jim can't even take it anymore. That's a catch. All that was courtesy of last week. That was simply... Spring didn't even have to work on that one, right? That was just from the Vele highlight, wasn't it?
There's so many of them.
There's so many.
He's done it like 9 times.
That was the double deflection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went off like 9 people.
And finally, Andy, if the Broncos win to go to Arrowhead, drink!
Drink!
Celebration!
And hey, if they're going to Arrowhead,
Let's go, y'all!
that's top shelf stuff. You don't bring out the sorry stuff. You bring out Daddy's special bottle.
Also, if the Broncos lose, drink anyway, because you're going to need to.
Yeah, that can be the crap
So
stuff.
there you go, everybody. That is your Broncos-Bills drinking game for Sunday at 11 a.m. Yes, enjoy it, everybody. It's a playoff game. We haven't had one of these in a damn long time. We'll get you the weekend preview and our official predictions on this game. I may not go with the score that I said on the midday show.
No, I'm not going to
Just
either.
a little bit
we
of
were just trying to give them what they asked for.
preview. Yes.
Kinda.
Yeah, that's what you get for asking us to take anything seriously. It's the Kreckman and Lindahl show.
Hey guys, Andy Lindahl here for Colorado Off-Road. If you've got some gift cards, maybe, sitting in the wallet, not quite sure what you want to do with it, stop on by Colorado Off-Road. They could show you plenty of things to do with it. Maybe if you're thinking about a bed cover or the step rails or the floor mats, all that's great stuff. The mud flaps, all that's great for this time of year. The step rails help you get in a vehicle securely without slipping as much. And you can, the floor mats, they keep the cabin clean and all that. But what I really want to focus in on now that the cold weather's here and it's officially winter, not exactly my favorite time of year, but you know what makes it a little easier when you could go out to a nice warm vehicle? Get a remote start kit. That's one of the things I had put in there with Jerry Jones. It allows you to warm the vehicle up. The keys stay with you, not in the car. It means you can leave the car locked. And even if somebody were to get in, you have to have the key, twist the key in order to get the vehicle going. It's the perfect thing to add this time of year to your vehicle so you can go out to a nice warm car or truck before you get out on the road. They've got them at Colorado Off-Road with a lot of other stuff, a lot of free great advice from Jerry and Wendy Jones, those that own the two that own this business. It's Colorado Off-Road. Find them 3 blocks south of downtown Littleton on Prince Street. You can find them on the web at cooffroad.com or give them a call, 303-761-1264.
Pretty good sports night coming up here. Texas, Ohio State just underway. When are we going to get Notre Dame in the national championship game? OKC and the Knicks just started as well. The update from the folks over at Ball Arena is that Jokic warming up. He's wearing gray sweats, which is not his typical look. But Jokic is on the floor for warm-ups. So we'll hopefully hear an official designation on the status of Nikola Jokic very soon. Hopefully he's able to go. I mean, Andy, I said this to you in the break. You also should be able to beat Brooklyn without Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, but now
Clearly better if he goes, but this Nets team is trying to lose.
I just hope he's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting to the point where this illness has been a thing for a minute now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he must have really been under the weather.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, it's that time of year. Hopefully he's good and he can go. If not, on to Dallas, I guess. So.
Damn right. Are we time for? Are we ready? Are we previewing the weekend? Let's preview the weekend. Now, ish.
Well, is that a bad omen? There we go.
Uh-oh. This could be a bumpy weekend. Be careful, everybody.
Everybody's watching sports on the weekend. Everybody wants to watch the games. Everybody's eating guacamole. Chips and guac are good when watching sports. You want to go watch the game?
I want to go watch the game. I'm going to be watching the Nuggets and the Brooklyn Nets tonight at 7 o'clock on KTVD Channel 20. You can also, of course, watch that game on Altitude and Altitude Plus. The Nets are tanking. The Nuggets are good. And again, as we heard, Jokic warming up. Avalanche back in action after boat race in the Wild last night. The Avalanche back at it in the Peg tomorrow night. They will play the Jets in Winnipeg at 5 o'clock. We'll, of course, have that game for you here on Altitude Sports Radio. And then the Nuggets will take on Dallas Sunday at 1 o'clock. No Luka, no Kyrie in that matchup for the Mavs. Andy, college buckets on the Front Range. Tomorrow, CSU's got UNLV, a couple of teams 3-1 in the Mountain West. DU takes on North Dakota State at 1 o'clock over there at Magnus. On Sunday, the Buffs in action with a home game against West Virginia in Big 12 play. Air Force plays San Jose State. College hockey, DU in Miami, Ohio tonight at 7 o'clock. By the way, that game televised on Altitude 2, so check out the Pios coming up there this evening. Your NFL playoff weekend starts tomorrow, 2:30. LA at Houston, and then Pittsburgh and Baltimore at 6 o'clock. That's an Amazon Prime affair, Andy. Obviously, Broncos-Bills at 11 a.m. on Sunday. And then the NFC side gets going with Green Bay at Philly at 2:30. Eagles 5.5-point favorites. Tampa Bay laying 3 at home against the Manders at 6 o'clock. That's Sunday Night Football on NBC. You'll be waiting all day for Sunday night. And then the Monday Nighter, we're out at Hofbrau on Monday. Starting at 3 o'clock. So the Monday Nighter of the Vikings and the Rams, which has been moved to Arizona due to the fires in Los Angeles. Savvy move by the NFL. But Minnesota and the Rams in Arizona on Monday Night Football in NFC wildcard playoff action.
We have the Mammoth tomorrow night at Ball Arena. Stop by if you decide you don't want to try to tune into Prime. Come catch the game. Loud House. Country music night, by the way.
Who do the Mammoth got tomorrow?
The Albany Firewolves. So,
the Firewolves.
But the Mammoth have been very good at home, so hopefully that'll work out. We get going at 7 o'clock. And by the way, our buddy Matty B sent us this, a celebration of the life of David Dinsmore. He was both a singer and trombonist in Judge Roughneck. He unfortunately passed. They'll be doing something tomorrow night out at the Oriental Theater. That's in my old neck of the woods where I grew up. And get
Love
this,
the Oriental.
Fishbone's Angelo Moore will be joining Judge Roughneck on stage, along with many other guest musicians.
No kidding.
So there you go.
That's a heavy hitter right there. So there you go. Little ska celebration this weekend. Well done right there. All right, Andy. Here we go. Final prediction time. Denver, 8.5-point dog. 46.5 the total. Broncos at Bills Sunday at 11 a.m. CBS, Nance and Romo. What do you got, Andy? What is your pick? How do the Broncos perhaps get it done, or how do they not get it done?
You know, I so badly want to pick Denver because, again, it just it's a tempting underdog matchup for me, but I do feel like I'm going to go 24-17. I feel like they're not quite there, right? I think this is a process, and they have had a phenomenal year no matter what. But I think the Bills are just, unfortunately, you've got to go up against one of the top seeds and a team that is deadlocked on trying to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is playing at an MVP rate. I think it's an awful lot to ask, but I do think the Broncos make this maybe one of the most interesting games of the weekend.
Yeah, I think they got a chance to, and I think they have a chance to cover, but I'm not going to pick them to do that. I'm leaning with the Bills and laying the points here in this game. I do think it's a one-score game in the fourth quarter, but ultimately a late Buffalo touchdown puts it away. I'm going to go with the Bills winning it, Andy, by a final score of 34-23. 34-23. Buffalo will get this one. That's my prediction. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we're talking about a trip to Arrowhead coming up here on Sunday. D-Mac and the coach are going to be with you starting at 9 a.m. and then 8 o'clock altitude after dark. When I'm wrong, everybody just call up and dunk on me coming up here on Monday. We'll be out at Hofbrau at 3 o'clock, so come see us in Westminster, 92nd and Wadsworth at the Hofbrau going into the Monday night playoff game. Enjoy the wild card weekend. It's going to be an awful lot of fun. Enjoy the hell out of that Broncos game. There we go. That's going to do it for us. The Nuggets and the Brooklyn Nets coming up at 7 o'clock. Berto's got your pregame coverage at 6:30. The Blitz is up next. Good night, everybody. We'll see you.